This is Mr. Burley at the York Catholic District School Board. This is the third tutorial in this series with SketchUp for Schools. And so in this particular one, the last one we left off, we did the porch. We added some colors and stuff. You can see, and you remember the dialogue, I chose this nice gray color that it fits in. It brings to mind a cottage near us. It's been built on the lake, and they tore down an old house and they built this big palace, and it just doesn't fit in. And everybody makes that comment when they're out in the boat at night cruising around. They're always saying that house looks like it should be in Miami. I mean, to each his own, but I think the personal feeling is a house should blend in with the scenery. The scenery is what we want to see when we're on the lake, not houses and stuff. And so a house like this with the nice subtle gray colors and the dark roof sitting up on top of a rock would be quite nice. So I took a few liberties. I put some windows across the front, this window here, and I put the windows in the back. You can go ahead and do that. You can pause the video and do that if you like. It only takes a few seconds. And really it's value added, because then when you start scrolling around, putting stuff in the interior, you can see it much, much nicer. So I encourage you to go ahead and pause the video and come back and get that done. So we're coming back now, and I want to start putting some stuff on the inside. So the first thing I want to do is I want to right click and I'm going to hide the roof. And in the last video, when I hid the roof, it still showed a mesh across here. And the reason what that was is because I had these things selected here, hidden geometry, and that's your hidden roof. It just shows you what's been removed. So if you're working on something, you go, oh yeah, that's right, I've removed that. So it's kind of a neat thing to do. Nevertheless, I don't need that at this moment. And you can come in here. I might have discussed in the last video, I can't remember. This cottage would be heated by a wood stove, which we're going to put right in here in a few minutes. But one of the things you have to be aware of is there's no furnace in here, and there's no ductwork and so on. So the reason this wall is low, and we discussed it, yes, we did discuss it in the last one, is because you want the heat to be able to come up and over the top. If it was right to the top and you had your privacy door closed on your bedroom, you'd be getting no heat whatsoever. So this is indicative of a very small cottage, one that's maybe just used up till October, and then they shut it down in the wintertime and go home, that kind of thing. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and put the wood stove in it. And to do that, I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to hide this wall in a minute or two, but I'm going to come into here, and in the 3D warehouse, we're going to go wood stove. Now, if you want to get creative later on, you can do a nice wood fireplace rather than a wood stove. But the wood stove creates a lot more heat. Fireplace basically just draws the heat out of the room, creates a negative pressure and sucks the heat out, whereas a wood stove, it can really heat up a place in a hurry. So I'm going to bring the wood stove, double click it, and there comes my wood stove. Now, the first thing you're going to notice, I'm just going to place it any old place right now, and I'm going to get rid of this. The wood stove is tiny. It's much larger than that in real life. So what we can do, first of all, we can playing around with this a little bit. It's fairly straightforward. What you do is you click the item, so it's blue, and then you can move it around. So click the item, and if it's not selected here, like say this is selected and you select the item, now you have to select the move tool. So we're going to bring it inside. Any rough location is fine for now. We're going to come in here and we're going to hide this wall so we can see what we're doing. I'm going to hide the interior wall too. And that gives us a nice perspective. It leaves the window there, which is good. And we come over here now, and I want to scale it first of all. I'm going to scale it, make it a little bit bigger because it's pretty tiny, and the wood stove wouldn't really be that small. I mean, you can buy small ones, but so we're going to grab it, and I've got the scale command done so that you can see the green. And if you just grab them and lift them up like that, it'll make it a more realistic size for what we need. And that's about roughly like that. They're about 24 inches wide, and that looks to be about where that is. So we can get out of that now. We've got this that selected the right size. First thing I want to do is I want to put it back in the corner, and usually they're on an angle. Mine's on an angle at home. So the best way to do that, I find, is if you come into the view, top view, like so. Now this has got the perspective on, so I'm going to turn perspective off so I can see it better. Looking straight down on top of it. Click on the move tool, and we're going to carefully move it up into the corner like so. And then we're going to rotate it a little bit using the red things touching the wall. We didn't want that. We want it out from the wall a little bit, because typically what you have behind here is a heat shield. So that looks to be about right position wise. So you can just click anywhere here and it'll lock it in position. I'm going to have to move it a bit more and erect that. Okay, so click, and then we're done. Now I'm going to go up this way to the side view, and you can see it's floating in space, and that's not good. So we are going to go to the side view, like so. This side maybe, or this side. Which one is it? There. Nope. There. This one. There we go. Shift key down, middle mouse button, and I'm going to lift it up. I want to bring it down so it's onto the surface of the floor right here. So we just click this, and you're just going to bring it down carefully. And you can zoom in, you can do a better job. You zoom right in, you can see that foot lining up. Zoom right on in. I tilted it accidentally. The other software I use, you can pan without pushing the shift key. This one you have to push the shift key down. I keep making that mistake. So I'm going to bring it down until it just sits on the floor, like so. And now I think I ruined it. I think it moved it sideways. Let's go on top and have a peek. No, it looks pretty good. So it looks nice, the position. Now, if this was my house and I was going to have this thing, if I was designing this cottage, one of the things I would do 100% is I would put a small door right here of some sort to get the firewood in. I would pile the firewood on the outside here, and I'd have some sort of way to put it in. It could be something as simple as a little trap door to shove it in. I know from experience, because I'm always bringing wood in through our house, and I'm forever dropping, so I have to go back and clean up. So these are the kind of things, these elements you start thinking about as you're designing it and thinking about the user space. Again, it isn't all about decoration and such. It's how the space is going to be used, and so this is some nice things to look at. So now I've got the fireplace in there. Let's go ahead and we're going to go back in. And I'm going to leave the wall missing right now for the time being. I'm going to put in bed, and there's a bunch of different beds in here. The one I found was pretty cool. But when I went to bring it in, it said it was a huge file, and that can happen. So I find these ones seem to work okay. We got good enough video RAM that seems to be working all right. I'm going to try to find something. I'm not sure where the one I had the other day was working. It was perfect, but yeah, let's bring this one in. So this is just a little same, and we have to do the same sort of thing. We're going to go here. I'm going to click on display. I'm going to click on the top view so I can kind of see where I'm at. And I'm going to come back in here. And of course, I'm not going to have it in that position. I want to rotate it. So I'm going to grab it like this. I'm going to rotate him like so. And it kind of nice where it ended up. Looks pretty good. So shift it back and forth so it's up against the wall a bit, and then click it outside the click, and then hit the escape key so it locks in. Now I'm going to go to the other view, this view over here, such that I can see that brings me back to another point I wanted to make in a minute. But so I want to hide this wall. And right click, hide, right click, hide the inner wall. And now I can look closely to see how my bed's in, and I bang on the money. This one's nice, came with little lights too, so that's nice. So there I have that. So let's go back to make it isometric view, and we'll go back into display here, and we will make it all. Now, if you look here, you'll see clipping. I think we've gone over this before, but it's okay. I'll do it again. What you do to get rid of that clipping is turn the perspective mode back on. And now if you scroll out, you can look around, and you can look right in the windows, and you can see everything. You can see our fireplace there and so on. So last thing, let's bring in, you can keep on doing this too. You can bring in all kinds of stuff. Let's go floor plan. Plant. And this looks cool. And let's put him right there on the front porch. Make it look nice, right? You can play around with where you put it. and you can fully decorate. So I keep on doing that. So let's click it and then escape and then click outside here somewhere to deactivate it. So there we have it. So one last thing I want to show you before we move on, two different things actually. When we were drawing the side of the house, and we had the side view like this, and we were trying to figure out where to bring that, we couldn't see the windows. One of the things you can do is you can go in here into display settings, scenes, here you go. I think it's here, or maybe it's here. I'm just getting used to this as well. So here you go. Nope. Here you go. These. I can change some of these things. So you see you got the blue roof and whatever. This is the simple one. We can change this for a second if we want to the hidden line feature like this. And there's another one here, hidden line features. I found it a little earlier. There you go. So it shows your hidden line features. So now when you design something, when you go to draw it, you can carefully, you can go to the side view, you can take off perspective, and then you can come in here and you can see there's my window. So I want that to be above the window. So you're looking at it from the side view. It makes it a lot easier to draw that in at this moment in time. So it's a good idea to go into scenes when you're doing something. So you see how, same if you're cutting a window, right? You were cutting a window, you wouldn't want the window to be below the bed or below the countertop on the other side. So this is, you can go into scenes and you can toggle these on and off. When you do though, you need to go into here to parallel projection. Okay, so this is back to this one here should be the, yeah, there we go. So that's the default view. So there's different views you can look through. You can make it look like it was sketched, which is kind of cool, or 3D. There was all kinds of different ones I went down through here, different colors and stuff. But there was a couple that made it look like it was a hand sketching. It was pretty cool. But you can see how this program would be nice if you were designing something. If you were designing a house and a space for somebody in like a little cottage, you can actually take a walk through and see it. So it's much nicer than looking at it from a 2D perspective. So if you take this now, walk through, you can come down here, and it only works in the perspective mode. So if I'm in the perspective mode, there you go. Just double click, and you can just walk in. So I click, and then the crosshairs is where I'm heading, and the higher up those feet go, the faster I'm going. So I'm holding the left mouse button down. Now I turn this way here. You can look into the bedroom. You can, oh, I've gone above it. I'm still playing around with that too, but you can do a nice walkthrough and check everything out. So you can walk right down through. I don't know if you can walk through the window or not. Probably you can, I guess. Clipping through. I keep clipping through. At any rate, that's how you do the walkthrough. You can play with that and master that if you like. As you can see, I'm not that awesome at it. Okay, so that's it. That's the last video. So finish it up like this. What my expectation is you hand this in with all the plants and the colors and everything else and the roof and all the inside. I want to see you put some kitchen cupboards in, kitchen cabinets in, a sink in. All that stuff is available through that. All that stuff is available. And if you can't find it, you just quickly sketch something out. It doesn't have to be perfect at this moment in time. This is for learning purposes at